Hello everyone, welcome to another movie review. I just got done seeing Scream 6, and here are my thoughts. I think I'm starting to hit a little bit of Scream fatigue, unfortunately. This movie wasn't bad. It's just me personally, I feel like we're starting to hit that point of like, alright, I think this is enough. Maybe one more movie, make it a trilogy, the new franchise, I guess you could say, starting with 5. Some of the reviews I watched were saying, it was good, but no reviews saying, oh, it's amazing, or, So I was just kind of going into this with, like, modest expectations, and I pretty much got modest results. This movie's not bad, I'm going to say that again. Don't worry, people, if you're, like, diehard Scream fans, you're going to like the movie. I like the movie. But something was missing. I don't know. Obviously, Sidney's missing, but that's not the issue. I know that. This movie was fine without Sidney. Gale was great, Kirby was great. The whole cast was great. The core four, as they're known in this, Chad and Mindy, the twins, and then, of course, Samantha and Tara, the sisters. The 4 survivors from the last film, they're great. The character work there is great. All these guys are standouts. I'm totally fine with them being the new leads, I just got to say, something, like I said, something in this movie was missing. I don't know. It just felt very standard to me, which isn't bad, but, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It just felt very run-of-the-mill, especially towards the end. And the killer reveal, again, it's just fine. It's nothing, amazing. Again, sorry if I'm disappointing anybody with this movie, This is just my opinion. Again, you might love this movie. This might be your new favorite. And going into this, my ratings as far as the Scream movies goes is literally 1 to 5 from best to worst. And 5, I actually really liked 5. I don't dislike 5. So... and yes, I'm one of those people that love Scream 3. If you watch my videos, I've said that a million times. I'm one of those Scream 3 loyalists, whereas most people put Scream 3 at the very end. This one, my ranking is now 1 to 6. So, this is my least favorite Scream movie. Again, I've only seen it once. I just saw it. But I'm pretty sure that's how I'm going to stay with it. Because, something just felt like... I don't know. It's the fatigue, I think. It's the Scream fatigue, I don't want to say all the movies are the same, because they're not. This movie actually did some different things, especially in the opening, which I thought was interesting. But, again, I don't know. It's just... And then, here's something that actually really bugs me the most about these movies. You'll have a situation where the characters are fighting off Ghostface. They knock Ghostface down, and one character decides to say, hey, guys, get out of here. I'll fight him by myself. Like, that happens a couple of times in this movie. I'm just like, why don't you all stay together and beat the crap out of this guy? Take his mask off, hold him down, whatever. You know what I mean? That's my biggest pet peeve with these movies. Man. Or the Ghostface is knocked down and everyone decides to run away when they could easily, So... that, and then also, there are several instances in this movie, I'm not going to say who, obviously, where you're like, okay, that person is toast, and they get out of it somehow, and it's a couple of times, and it's like, you got to be kidding me, like, there's no way, oh man, there's no way. Again, I'm not going to, the spoiler section of this video is probably going to be longer than the non-spoiler section, if I had to guess, so stay tuned for that. So, as far as a rating, I want to say 8. 8 out of 10 is probably, like, the safe bet. I feel like I gave Scream 5 an 8. I mean, I don't know. There's this part of me that's actually kind of leaning towards, like, a 7.5. Like, I don't know. Like, something felt off for me. The New York setting was cool, I love the fact that they decided to switch it up and go, Ghostface is attacking them in public areas, but I don't know. It felt underutilized to me. Right now, I'm just feeling like a huge critic. Like, again, these people that make these movies work very hard. Obviously, Radio Silence are massive Scream fans, and they probably feel honored to be in charge of the franchise now. But I don't know. It's just don't kill me, people. Like, you know, if you love this movie, I'm happy for you. I was gonna say something else, but I totally forgot. Yeah, I really don't know. Something just felt... I'm getting fatigued, I think, is what I said. So, you know, if they make a 7, which I'm pretty sure they will, just to make it a trilogy, you know, they need to stop. I think it's good, you know. They honestly could have ended it with 5, but I like the continuing of the story with these new characters, actually, like the Carpenter sisters. Of course, Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera. And I gotta say, Melissa Barrera, no offense to her, I'm sure I said it in the Scream 5 review, some of her acting in Scream 5 just didn't land for me. Again, no knocks against her. I've never really seen her in anything else, actually. And, you know, again, I probably couldn't even act, period. So, you know, well, who am I to talk? But she was very good in this one. Like, she improved a lot in this one, I think. Because, you know, she is the main star now, so I kind of had, like, that critique going on in the last one. But she improved a lot, you know, and the chemistry between all the characters was great, you know. And also, I will say this, not a spoiler, but in terms of, like, predicting the killer, normally, I'm not really the best at that. I'm kind of, like, 50-50 at doing that. But in this one, I pretty much figured it out. Like, I figured it out, like, maybe my second guess. Like, my first guess, I was like, but then something is said, and I was like, oh, it's this. And then I was figuring out why, you know, this person was, I don't want to say too much, but I was able to just piece it together. Like, I figured it out pretty quickly. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. You know, there's a lot of Easter eggs, obviously, in the film. If you're a Scream mega fan, you're going to love the Easter eggs. But, man, again, I'm just somewhat underwhelmed with this one. Yeah, I don't know. There is a post-credit scene. You definitely want to stay for it. I'll just say that. Because I heard in a review, hey, there's a post-credit scene. And I was, oh, okay, so I guess I'll wait. Because I don't think any Scream movie has a post-credit scene. So, yeah, that's about it. So, again, I think my final rating, you know... And I gotta say, too, in the trailers, you know, the trailers make it out to be like Ghostface. This is the most indestructible Ghostface yet. He's got a shotgun. And I gotta say, that scene was very good. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie. So, yeah, I mean, the Ghostface, you know, Ghostface was cool in this. Not indestructible like the trailers made it out to be, but Ghostface was good. Yeah, this review's all over the place. I know I'm being very vague, but with Scream, you kind of have to be very vague, so... Again, this rating, I think I'll just go, like, I'll give it an 8 out of 10, you know, just standard 8 out of 10, whatever. So, it's a B. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you would rate the film, how you rank the Scream movies. So now I'm going to talk spoilers. So, if you haven't seen this film, get out of here. Trust me, you don't want to know. Okay, so, something I've wanted to see in a Scream movie for a long time. There's actually 3 killers, which I think is cool. Though I'm not sure the dad was in the costume. I don't know about that part. He's probably just the mastermind behind it, where the 2 kids were the killers. I'm not really sure. But what I was talking about earlier, when the daughter is quote-unquote killed, and you never see it happen, and it's just like she's thrown out of the door, it looks like she's dead, I knew right away, you know. And as soon as she mentioned earlier in the movie, oh, I lost my brother, I figured it out right away. I was like, oh, somebody died. I didn't know it was Richie, you know, I didn't find that out till the end of the movie. But I was like, there's something there. I already know it. And then the brother, I didn't suspect him because, again, he was on the train with Mindy. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know, maybe he could be up to something, you know. But I didn't really suspect him. So to be fair, I guessed it was the cop dad, and I guessed it was his daughter. You know, because I was like, if the daughter is the killer, then the father has to be involved, obviously. And, you know, later on, when he calls Sam on the phone and is like, oh my God, Kirby's been on a downward spiral, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, he's lying. I know it. He's making this shit up because he's the killer. So I predicted those 2, but then the brother, I wasn't able to figure him out. So give the movie credit, I didn't guess all 3 killers, you know. But I like the fact that they actually did 3 killers, you know. So, and then what I was talking about earlier, like people surviving. I don't want Gail to die, but she should have died in that scene. I think it would have been a good death, you know. She put up a good fight, You know, in my opinion, it would have been a better death scene than Dewey's death scene. I love and hate Dewey's death scene, because in his death scene, he went out heroic, but it just annoys me. It's like, why did they, you know, I understand he was trying to get Richie, Sam, and Tara to safety, but they all could have stuck together and took Ghostface out right there, but he decides to go by himself. You know, it was Dewey's death scene, again, I love it and I hate it. Whereas this one, I think Gale would have went out a badass. But they reveal at the end of the movie, oh, she survived, Mindy survived the stabbing, Chad survived. That's the one I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, you gotta be kidding me. And I was surprised they didn't, like, show Gale again. They never really showed her again, like, in the hospital or whatever. Like, they're just like, yeah, she survived. I thought she'd be the post-credit scene, but she wasn't. And you like that? The post-credit scene? That was pretty good. That was a good joke. I like that. And I gotta point out, too, it looks like they're making Tara and Chad the new Gale and Dewey. So I think that's why they had Chad survive unexpectedly like that, because that's how, you know, every movie Dewey survived. It was on a stretcher, you know. So they're doing that thing. But to me, it's like you got two killers stabbing you repeatedly. Like, there's no way, you know what I mean? Those two wouldn't have, like, finished him off without knowing he was alive. You know what I'm saying? It was like, man, you got to be kidding me. But I do like the romance between those two. You know, I'm happy to see it. Mason Gooding was awesome in this. You know, he definitely improved from the last one again. Same with, you know, Mindy. She's great. She's basically the new Randy, you know. So we have a new Sidney, Gale, Dewey, and Randy, basically, the core four. Which, again, I love all these characters. It's fine. It's just the situations they get out of. And then Kirby survived. It's like, man, somebody had to die. Like, come on. Like, we're, you know, in Scream 2, at least they killed Randy, which, again, I'm torn on that. I love it and I hate it, you know. It's like, man, you got to start killing some people. Like, come on. And to be honest, I don't think this film had a very high body count. I don't think it did. Like, I didn't count all the kills. So, like, okay, you have Samara Weaving at the beginning of the movie. Then you have Tony Revolori and his roommate, so that's 3. Then you got the guy who gets shotgunned. And then you got therapist. You got Mindy's girlfriend. You got... all 3 killers die at the end, obviously. I'm sorry if I'm skipping people. Gale's boyfriend died. Trying to remember everybody. I think that might have been it. 10 people died? I feel like the other movies have higher body counts. I don't know. Not trying to be dead meat here, but, you know, I think that's what the body count was. I think it was 10. I'm probably missing somebody. You know, I didn't suspect the boyfriend, you know, a red herring, just like Cotton in the second movie. You know, this movie, again, much in the vein of Scream 2, it ends in like a theater-esque, you know, setting. There's a boyfriend, red herring character. Well, Cotton wasn't a boyfriend, but, you know, well, actually, you know, then again, Derek was a red herring also, kind of, you know. Again, similar to Scream 2 in some ways. They're in college, you know, so I don't know if they're going to make another one. They're going to go to Hollywood, like in Scream 3. So... But yeah, guys, you know, the reveal that it was Richie's family, okay, you know, it's tied into the last movie, that's fine, you know, but it's like, you know, I think they said she dated him for 6 months. I guess she never met his family. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird, you know. And again, like Scream 2, Mrs. Loomis was the killer related to the first movie. So, you know, yeah, I get it. But like I said, I think Gale should have died in that scene. It would have been a great way for her to go out. Obviously, I think they're saving her to be in the next one because, you know, she's in all the movies. Which, you know, I'm not against it. It's just, man, you had to kill somebody. Like, come on. Gale survived a 6th time. Like man, it would have been a really good death scene, I think. And I was into it. I was getting emotional. And then they said, oh, she got a pulse. She got a pulse. So... I don't know. We'll see what Part 7 brings. Maybe it'll change my mind on things, you know, depending on how they use the characters. Kirby's still alive, obviously. Yeah, again, I'm just kind of fatigued, I think, to be honest, on Scream now, unfortunately. And, you know, I didn't review Chucky Season 2 just because I was so busy at the time it was airing. But I'm feeling the same thing with Chucky. Like, I'm getting Chucky fatigued, unfortunately, which is something I never thought I'd say because we went a whole... like 9 years without Chucky content back when, you know, Curse of Chucky came out. But now I feel like we're reaching a point of, like, how much is too much, you know? Because the last Scream was just last year, obviously. Which, again, I don't mind the movies coming out frequently like that, you know? It lessens the wait, which is nice. But, like, I don't know. There's also the element of fatigue. So I feel like that's what's happening here. Yeah, I don't think I have much else to say. Again, none of the kills were, you know, too creative. I feel like the shotgun one was the only, like, unique one, you know, for the series. Yeah, probably, honestly, my least favorite killer reveal in the whole franchise. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry if I'm bashing this movie, guys. If you loved it, I'm happy, like I said. But I think that's about it, you know. They had a Red Right Hand in the movie, of course. I'm trying to think of any Easter eggs I should talk about. You know, the shrine to Ghostface and all the little Easter eggs in there. That was cool, you know. I love the little, you know, they're acknowledging Scream 3, talking about Roman Bridger and stuff. You know, I love it. I love it. So, yeah. And also, you know, another thing I picked up on was, like, okay, if the dad is, the cop is one of the killers, that's how he has access to all this stuff. I just figured it out, you know, like, I was like, it has to be the cop. They're, like, making him a character, like, you know, they're putting a lot of focus on him. I'm like, yeah, he's got to be one of the killers. So, yeah, easy to predict, I think, so. But that's about it, you know, no cameo from Neve Campbell, unfortunately, so it's whatever. She didn't need to be in it. It was fine. So we'll see what Part 7 brings. I hope they stop at 7, so I don't know. I'm just sorry if I'm bringing, like, a downer right now, but yeah, that's about it. So thank you guys for watching. Again, leave your ratings down below and your thoughts. Yeah, so all right, thank you guys for watching, and have a good one. Bye-bye.